Welcome back. You're watching Newsx. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. India's newly appointed High Commissioner to Canada, Dinesh K. Patnaik, has strongly defended Prime Minister Mark Carney's role in mending the strained relations between the two nations. Patnaik commended Carney's leadership for playing a pivotal role in restoring normalcy in India-Canada ties, emphasizing that the recent improvement was inevitable due to shared interests and mutual respect. Patnaik also dismissed former PM Justin Trudeau's allegations, labeling them as preposterous and absurd. Trudeau had previously accused Indian officials of involvement in the 2023 assassination of Canadian Sikh separatist Hardeep Singh Nijjar, a claim that India has consistently rejected. The diplomatic rift had led to the expulsion of diplomats from both countries and a significant downturn in bilateral relations, highlighting the ongoing efforts to rebuild trust. Patnaik noted that security agencies from both nations are engaging in dialogue, with meetings between the NI and the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, as well as between national security advisors of both countries. These steps signify a concerted effort to restore and strengthen bilateral ties. Joining us live is Major General Rajan Kochar, defense expert. We also have Sumit Peet, political commentator, joining us live. Dilip Cherian, Image Guru, is live with us. Vipin Sharma, senior journalist, also joins us on the broadcast. Let me make a start with you first, Major General Kochar. What do you believe are the main takeaways of what the Indian High Commissioner, the new Indian High Commissioner to Canada, has said in this interview?
Thanks a lot for inviting me for this discussion. I think it's a very, very important development that we have a High Commissioner now, and who is going to Canada with a very, very positive outlook. The main area of concern, I think, for him is the security environment, because he has stressed upon the fact that a High Commissioner of Canada and India is free and of all the encumbrances. He doesn't have any kind of security issue. But a High Commissioner of India in Canada is not secure. So I think that's a very big statement. Because the start point, if you remember, 14th October this year, a couple of days before, Anita Anand had come, the foreign minister, and with Minister Jaishankar, one important aspect was a comprehensive bilateral roadmap was discussed. So in this security environment formed a very important part of that roadmap. And I think this Nijjar episode has been quite a damage to the relationship between the two countries. And the second is that the Khalistani element in Canada. Canada has almost 2% population of Sikhs there. And earlier we saw in Trudeau's government, there was a predominant role of Jagmeet there in that government, and his party was quite instrumental in the policy decision making of Canada. So I think there are a few areas where the Canadian government would like to take a look. One is the free speech thing, because Canadian laws, I think, are very, very loose as far as that is concerned, because anybody can say anything. They don't call it sedition and they don't call it anything else. And what the ambassador actually said was very, very subtle. He says the security environment is more going to affect the Canadians than the Indians there, and it is the responsibility of the Canadian government to ensure that they provide a secure security environment for all the people who stay in Canada. And when Anita Anand came here, one important aspect I think our ambassador Patnaik would also actually carry with him is going to be a structural engagement, and nothing should be blown up by statements in the media, because this is very important as far as the diplomatic relations are concerned, because then we run after damage control exercises. So I think this structural engagement on the part of Delhi and Ottawa are extremely important in this relationship. And one last point which the ambassador actually made was the relations are good but not the best, and therefore there is a gap right now between good and best, and this gap needs to be walked together. It can't be a one-sided thing. You see, almost 3 lakh students of ours study in Canada, and those
Yes.
immigration laws also would need a review
Absolutely, which is
because
why this mending was needed. Sumit P, let me quickly draw you in here on, of course, how important the role of Mark Carney has been in all of this as well. Dinesh Patnaik, our new High Commissioner there, of course, crediting his personal role in mending Indo-Canada ties. How important is that point being emphasized by a High Commissioner, and what stands out in these other statements he's made as well?
Uday, thank you very much for having me on your show. Wishing you, all the panelists, and all our viewers a very happy Deepavali. Sir, there are few things which have to be made very clear here. Whatever Justin Singh Trudeau was doing, this was playing to the galleries. He was a literal slave or a puppet of Jagmeet Singh, who was making him dance to his tunes. Our relations had gone pretty bad, and what the ambassador rightly says, there is no man who can single-handedly destroy the complete relation. India hold to its ground. India was steadfast because we had nothing to do with those so-called killings of Nijjar and all. Gangs of Khalistanis is the biggest problem of Canadians, and they have to go and settle it. It's not our problem, by the way. Well, in this interview is a very bold statement. Either, look, Uday, either Jastinder Singh Trudeau or Justin Trudeau was lying, or he was politically compelled, or Mark Carney is a traitor. Because if India was involved in all this, how can Mark Carney take a U-turn? Which makes a point, obviously, we had nothing to do with all this. This was all politically manufactured, manifested, and you had evil intentions in defaming and demeaning a most powerful democracy of the world, and insulting our great leader Modi ji. It started when Mark Carney took over. Remember, there was a G20 summit or a G7 summit, which was supposed to happen. G7 summit was happening in Canada. Mr. Mark Carney extended special invitation to Modi ji. Initially, it was not there, but when he took office, he extended special invitation to Modi ji and said, "Without India, this summit is incomplete." He made a statement like that. I think that was a tone where he realizes the value of India, and Mr. Patnaik is very right that he has been able to mend the relations because India was there. India was steadfast. It was only that Canadian snub which was coming after another and another, because Jagmeet Singh was literally calling the shots. Look, India does not do all this. India doesn't need all this. India has been very clear. We had a great relation with Canada. We intend to have a great relation with Canada, but the government of the day has to be neutral. We don't expect them to be in our favor and singing our praises. If they are neutral and if they think for the good of the Canadian people, relation with Bharat is sacrosanct. You cannot live without this relation. And he makes an important point, is because of Donald Trump you're here. He says, no, we will be always here sooner or later. It's not a Donald Trump factor which is revolving around the whole world and making the whole world dance. We were always there. We had a relation. The point here, which is proved now on the international stage by the virtue of Canadian actions, is that the previous government was doing it under malified intentions. They just wanted to defame us. They just wanted to insult our democracy and insult our leadership. That was the whole idea. Our diplomats were targeted. Our ex-Prime Minister Indira Ji's effigies were burned. All these things were let happen when as if it was a rogue state. And when you look at those rallies, you can't differentiate, is it Ontario or is it Islamabad? At times I would think it's Islamabad. If it happens in Islamabad, that's quite okay. Now the change of winds has happened. The relations have improved, but there's a lot of work to be done. NSAs are meeting. The External Affairs Minister was here. Officials are meeting. And you will see, Uday, when the change of guard happens, the things start falling in place. Because it has to be like that. The democracies have to be in tandem with each other. We had nothing bad with Canada. It was only Jagmeet Singh who was the architect of disaster, and the people of Canada taught him a lesson. He lost the election. And after that, all this Khalistani tamasha and all these Khalistani drama stopped. And how come today Khalistanis are not able to attack at whim? How come today Khalistanis are not able to do what were they able to do in Justin Trudeau's time? This talks a lot. This was the complacence and the political compromises of the government of Canada. It had nothing ever to do with Bharat or Bharat security agencies or our Honorable Prime Minister. I think it is proved by the world, and I will compliment the Honorable Ambassador to give a bold statement like this in international media to set the things even.
Okay, let me quickly, in fact, get you in here, Bipin Sharma, on, of course, the statements made, and also, Sumit P just talking about how there were certain individuals within the Canadian dispensation at that time who were hell-bent on ruining ties. But as, our new High Commissioner there has said, there is so much of mutual benefit that India and Canada can draw to one another and draw for one another. And there are so many mutual areas of convergence that this relationship had to come back on track, is what he's saying, and it has now finally. Do you agree?
No second thoughts about, absolutely, Uday. So no second thoughts about that because it really augurs well, this statement and then the new leadership, because after all, leadership matters and it can make a huge difference in the world. So now with Mark Carney in the chair and, assuming the office as the 24th PM of Canada, which is the second largest country in the world, it has its own challenges. But then there is no denying the fact that there was a trust deficit on both sides, India and Canada. Then, following the killing of Nijjar, then allegations, then, of course, India refuting those allegations. So now, this new leadership and then new wind of change, this definitely goes in India's favor, because we are going to be concerned about India's interests, India first, and then as the diplomat, the High Commissioner rightly said that restoring relationships, then looking towards the future, and then bilateral trade, bilateral cooperation on different fronts. So now, because there is also one very important point that needs to be borne in mind is that the majority population of Sikhs in Canada does not support the Khalistan movement. So that also needs to be understood in totality. A minority population percentage definitely supports the Khalistan movement. But then if the majority is not in favor, so that also augurs well for India. So now we should look forward, to the mutual progress, and then the trust deficit which was there, that should be a chapter of the past. And also in the present day scenario when challenges are numerous, because we should not forget the U-turns that Donald Trump, especially in his second tenure as president, has been taking, and the heavy tariffs which he has been imposing. He has been threatening India. On one hand, he says Modi is his good friend. So we have to have a very cautious approach. And so, these new ties, this new era of friendship with Canada would definitely go a long way, and in sending a very positive message on the international forum, because with Prime Minister, going to Shanghai and being a part of the BRICS summit. So I think that also gave a very clear-cut signal to not just Pakistan, but also to America, that this is actually new India and it means business. Our Prime Minister has been doing a splendid job ever since he assumed his office as the Prime Minister in the year 2014. So I think while challenges are there, but that definitely there are a lot of positives that also need to be borne in mind.
In fact, draw you back in here, Major General Kochhar, to just talk about some areas you see now of convergence between the two countries. Which specific domains do you see ties now increasing in? We are also learning that, of course, the RCPA, the NI are continuously in touch with each other. The NSAs of our countries are also speaking now closely. The Foreign Minister of Canada visited India, not too long back. Where do you see the two countries now converging in the days ahead?
A very good question, and especially after this tariff issue with America, this is a new supply chain, or this is a new market I think India would have to develop, because so far India has a bilateral trade of $10 billion. So in this, we are basically looking at pharmaceuticals, textiles, machinery, IT services, pulses, wood products, fertilizers, and energy resources. So now this is an opportunity where the US has almost blocked our exports there. There is a market now available to you to exploit. And I think especially pharmaceuticals, textiles, they are the two areas. Gems and jewelry also will be the third area I would suggest. So first is these investment flows will start. Second, Canadian pension funds and institutional investors have been always investing in India. I think that source of investment would also need to be pitched higher. Third is in the field of technology, and I'm very positive in this because what I'm hearing about the Indo-Canadian Chamber of Commerce also discussing on this is joint initiatives in artificial intelligence, biotechnology, space, and clean energy. Because these are the areas where India needs to invest for the future as far as the clean energy is concerned. In artificial intelligence, India is quite well up, and Canadians are also a lot of research and development have been done by both these countries. So I think this is very important. And my last point is this multilateral cooperation, the Indo-Canadian chapter, especially in various security forums would now, because once you strengthen this bilateral relationship and mutual areas of convergence have been identified, you will find there will be a security cooperation in multilateral organizations. Canada would be a friend of India, supporting India in these multilateral organizations. And my last point is, especially the most important is going to be agriculture and food security, because Canada is a major exporter
Yes.
of
Do you also
pulses.
believe, Sumit Peer, that we must also hope that Canada will continue to rein in extremist behavior on its soil? They cannot allow what happened earlier as well. The proof of the pudding, as they say, is in the eating. Surely we do expect demonstrable action as well, isn't it, Sumit?
Uday, so far things are good. The winds look favorable, but it will depend upon how much does this ship sail. We must see this tangible action happening. Still, there are gangs, there are Indian wanted, most wanted, they are in Canadian soil. It doesn't matter do they have a Canadian passport or not. A lot of people who got Canadian passports, I mean, we don't know how. There's immigrations rackets which are running. You go, somebody gets a student visa there, and all those happens. There are still those provinces which are literally controlled by Khalistanis, and there are still those gangs which are roaming scot-free. I think very recently that Kapil Sharma's cafe again was fired third time or whatever. Now the issue here is that Canada has to understand Khalistani, so-called Khalistanis are fringe elements. They are Canadian terrorists. We have nothing to do with them. Sikhs have nothing to do with them. They are Canadian terrorists. And the onus is on the Canadian government to rein in those Canadian individuals who are on the path of terror. Nijjar went to Pakistan. He got training from there. And if Justin Trudeau is worried about that, that is his problem. Look, at the end of the day, these gangsters and these nefarious elements are going to hit Canadians. What is our population of Indians there? 1%, 2%, 98%. People who are going to be victims of that are those Canadian people only. So in the mutual interest and cooperation of the two countries, it is very important to have tangible action where these Khalistanis are booked. Some of them need to be deported. Some of them are there illegally. You have to send them back and we have to take care of them. We must have a time-bound program wherein visible, tangible things can be seen percolating down, wherein we can see things are really shaping and happening. This is what the India intention is. What about our list of around the 42 list of 42 individuals, if my memory serves is right, which are given to Canada, which are most wanted by India? I think Canada should come up with a program and start giving us a schedule where they are reporting them. Look, and these people are nefarious gangsters. They are even, into gang war and into firing and all those things in Canada. So, honestly, Canada has been a place wherein biggest fentanyl and metadreprin lab was found. Remember, there was this guy Gaganpreet Singh or somebody who was running a lab somewhere near Surrey, which was the biggest catch in the whole world. These are the things which are brimming on Canadian soil. And Mr. Mark Carney, relations and economics is good, but the law and order is becoming a problem. And let me remind you, Canada is the playhouse for ISI. Canada is the playhouse for Chinese intelligence. All the Pakistani jihadi generals are living in Canada. All the real estate is controlled by Chinese. So there are a lot of things which go beyond normal having relations, because if you let these nefarious elements be on Canadian soil. Who killed Mariam Baloch, the Baloch activist who was killed in Canada? Did the Royal
Yes.
Mounted Police found that? These are some of the questions which
Okay.
are buried behind but need answers.
Okay. I'll leave the last word to Bipin Sharma on the way ahead.
So decisive leadership can make all the difference in the world, and it can be a game changer. So we have a very decisive leadership here in India. And as I said initially, this is new India, and this era belongs to India. And provided we build a positive environment, and perception also matters. So now the focus has to be on military, diplomacy, and economy. And of course, people-to-people ties, and then working on this trust deficit which was there when Justin Trudeau was in power. So now with the new leadership in Canada, I think definitely this, we look forward. We are optimists. We are not naysayers, and India will definitely clinch it. And last but not the least, the other nations have to be worried, because they understand the might, the power of New India.
All right. My thanks to all of our guests for joining us on this discussion. It's time for a short break.